Today we're going to talk about how to avoid two major mistakes you can make that can cost you money or hurt your account. Hey, it's Don. Today we're going to talk about two of the biggest mistakes that new resellers as well as old resellers make. First, we're going to talk about canceling orders. Now, if someone purchased one of your items, canceling comes up quite often. I get comments, questions, and things like that across on many of my videos. Something suspicious you think about, either their address or something, or they have no feedback. Now, that's one of the biggest misconceptions I see a lot of, that you don't want to take a purchase from somebody with zero feedback. Everybody had zero feedback at one point. Right now, there's more people on probably than have been in a long time with zero feedback or just a single-digit amount. A lot of people hopped on because of the pandemic, and they're purchasing stuff online for the first time. I have never, ever, and nor would I ever recommend canceling any orders from somebody with zero feedback unless there was some other major issue going on with it. One thing you have to know on canceling, depending on how you cancel it, the person you're canceling it on can leave you negative feedback regardless. That can actually ding your account with feedback that you cannot remove. If you canceled it without having them say, hey, please cancel this, it's all on you at that point. Sure, the sale will be canceled. You won't be levied any fees, but your feedback will take a ding. In all honesty, the majority of all of those who have ever tried to scam us have had hundreds, if not thousands, of feedback. So feedback is not a rate or a ranking on how to determine if someone is a scammer or not. In many cases, some of the scammers had 100% good feedback, but what they were doing was obviously a scam. Now, the only times I would ever recommend canceling any sort of sale on eBay is if, one, the buyer asked you to cancel it through eBay's message system. That way you have track record that states, yes, the buyer asked me to cancel it, and I am free and clear. Now, there's an option on there that if you're out of something that says, hey, I don't have the item, I need to cancel it. Now, that's an option you can use as well, too. That will ding your account because you didn't have something that you stated you would. So that's why having a solid inventory system, knowing where everything's at, is huge and key and important because, again, that's another way to get your account dinged. And on top of that, the person could actually leave you negative feedback. They didn't ask you to be out of the item. So they're not asking for anything other than they want the item. So any other reason can get you the negative feedback. So that's why I say don't cancel it. Now, there's one more good cancellation option there that you can use that won't ding your account. Now, that is there's something wrong with the buyer's address. Now, don't use any of these options if they aren't actually true. I would never, ever recommend that because eBay can tell if it's a correct address or not. They can tell if there's misinformation tied to that account. So if you're stating the wrong thing, you're lying to your partner in the transaction, which is partially eBay. So I would never recommend doing that. It wouldn't look good on your light if, say, the buyer wanted to leave feedback, contacts eBay, and then finds out that you misstated something or lied about the aspect just so you could go ahead and cancel it on them. So again, don't do any of those options at all unless they are true. I've canceled orders because of the buyer's address. I've also contacted eBay with some issues with the buyer before, and eBay told me to cancel it, problem with the buyer's address. If eBay tells you to do it, obviously you are free and clear as well. Otherwise, you can get actual bad feedback. That's a big thing. Now, the other mistake a lot of people seem to do and not realize is when an item is delivered to somebody and marked as delivered with tracking, you are done with the sale. You are full and completely free and clear of any issues with the delivery of the item. Now, the item could be damaged or something like that. But if the buyer claims they didn't get it and it shows that it was delivered, you do not have to refund them. Now, if you contact eBay, eBay will close that case. You can also supply the tracking number to their actual case that they opened up. That way it will show as well that it was delivered. It's much quicker to get the case closed if you contact eBay, though, because you don't have to wait for any processing or to go through the system or anything else like that. Don't refund the buyer the money, though. You did everything you were supposed to do. If it's missing from actually that person's porch, it is not your fault. Somebody else could have stole it, or one thing I see quite often is the buyer states they didn't get it, even if they did. So that is another potential of a scam. Don't always believe what is going on. Now, when I say this, that you don't have to give the money out, I do get a lot of people saying, well, that's not good customer service. Well, you've got to draw a line on where customer service ends. If I've done everything in my part and the post office is stating that they got it, I have to assume the post office is correct 99.9999% of the time. Last year, I did not have a single package go astray that we sent out. Not a single one. Every one was delivered to the address. Every one. So I have to judge by my history with the post office. Now, we've had some packages that were coming to us that have disappeared on a couple occasions, so I know it happens. But I insure them, or whatever the case may be, if it's that important to me. Now, when something like that happens, I always recommend that they check with their actual postal carrier, who delivers the mail for them, and ask them what goes on with that. Now, with those tracking numbers, too, you have to realize that there's a whole bunch more information that you or I can never see from the post office. They actually have a way to track where items were actually delivered through a GPS system, from what I've personally seen. There's more printouts you can get if you go down to your post office as well. So there is a chance it was delivered to someone else's address. Again, that is not your responsibility either. That's now between the actual buyer and the post office, the agents who were supposed to deliver it, your mailman or whatever the case may be. Now, if it turns out that package was actually delivered to your buyer's front porch, but it's mysteriously gone, then they need to contact the police department locally. Maybe there's camera footage. Maybe something else went on. So I don't just jump out and refund the buyer at all. Again, once it's marked as delivered, I am free and clear. That doesn't mean that I don't acknowledge that something could happen, but I don't see as that as the issue of a business. Any of these sorts of issues, you should not be out a dime. They can contact eBay, and eBay is going to tell them the same thing. Now, the only big drawback is that you could lose a customer, a returning customer, with something like that. But you never, ever have to refund the money if it states delivered at all. So it's your call from that point on, but I personally do not give a refund out at all. I tell them who to appropriately contact, post office first, and then the police department, and then I leave it at that. Now, with feedback, they can't leave you negative feedback in these cases either. It was closed on your behalf when you have them close the case because it was marked as delivered. Once the case is closed, it prevents the buyer from leaving neutral or negative feedback on your account. The buyer cannot as well leave you a positive feedback with a negative note either. You can't have contradictory statements. So if you ever get a feedback that's a positive that is actually stating negative facts in there, you can have that removed instantly as well. I know it's technically still a positive, but I don't like having something like that on there. I've actually had that happen, and I do know without a doubt eBay will remove those all of the time. Now, these two mistakes here have cost a lot of people negative feedback as well as a lot of money. It's something to avoid. Whether you're new with eBay or not, these are issues that a lot of people do run into, and not thinking they may give out the funds or risk getting that negative feedback. Your feedback is your personal record of how good you handle your customers, how nicely you deal with them, and the whole works. So you want the best possible feedback that you can get for your account. Now, obviously, at some point, you may get a negative. I've had a few here and there. It does happen. But by avoiding these sorts of mistakes, you at least not get one for something simple like this, where you shouldn't have been at risk to begin with. Now, one more aspect about tracking here. You have to upload it immediately, right after you mail it out. If a buyer opens up a case, states that it wasn't delivered, You may have the tracking may show that it was delivered, but if it wasn't uploaded to eBay prior to that person opening up a case, eBay can and will in most cases decide on the buyer's behalf when that sort of thing happens. It states in the user agreement that you have to upload the tracking prior to a case being opened. I immediately open it anyway. That's a customer service aspect. You want to have the tracking uploaded the minute you ship something out. It's always better for the customer standpoint. They want to see that it's in the mail. They can instantly click on it and it will take them to a screen that shows them where the package is. One more aspect on that as well. Many times the tracking you find in the U.S. Postal Service website may have better information to us, to the public, than eBay will, because there is a lag sometimes in how it posts up on eBay. But anyway, that's what I have for you today. Hopefully that gave you some ideas, some thoughts. If you enjoyed this video, please hit that like button down below. You can also hit the bell icon to be notified if I post new content or go live. Subscribe and tell all your friends.
Zero-gravity cliffhangers. You race them through the giant loop, the death-defying spiral, up the wall to zero gravity, and take the lead to win. Zero-gravity cliffhangers with Night Glow from Tyco.